Welcome to Life Guide Healthcare, where premium care meets a personal touch. We specialize in medical weight loss, IV hydration therapy, hormone replacement therapy, primary and holistic care, and advanced wound care and mobile services. At Life Guide Healthcare, we bring care directly to you with mobile and in-home services available, conveniently serving the community with fast appointments and customized treatment plans. Call us today at 770-557-1079. Life Guide Healthcare, your partner in better health.
Welcome to the Alkemystic Mind. I am your host, Minister Imhotep. And I have the honor and privilege today of having as my very special guest, Dr. Mark Armstrong. Dr. Armstrong is here in the Atlanta area. He is the founder of the Ahimki Center for Wholeness. As such, he's an acupuncturist, does all sorts of modalities of healing. And you hear me, Mark? It does all sorts of healing modalities, and I'd like to introduce you to him so that we can have a conversation about healthcare, and also how do we use preventative methods, because we know that it's gotten to be almost a right of the rich to have great access to healthcare. So we have to do preventative methods so that we don't enter into that system. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Armstrong, and to okay, Doc, could you give us a little bit of your background and tell us about? I know you've been in the Atlanta area for quite some time now, but you migrated here from Los Angeles. What was it that brought you here, and why did you establish a practice here?
So first of all, I'd like to say praise the land and greetings to everyone. But yes, my grandmother passed away, and back in 1991, and I came down to assist my grandfather, and he suggested, I came from Santa Barbara, California, I had a practice there at the University of California, Santa Barbara, UCSB, and he just suggested that I needed to come home. I was born in the South, and my grandfather was a Babalawo, a great healer, and I always listened to him, so I said Alabama would be too slow, but moved to Atlanta. And it turned out to be just a perfect match.
Awesome. So how long actually have you been here in Atlanta?
I've been in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, 35 years.
Okay. So you're not a new jack? Okay.
No, I've been here for a minute.
Okay. What does Ahimki mean? A-H-I-M-K-I. What does that actually mean? Is there a meaning to it? Is it an acronym?
Yes, it actually stands for, I took it from Ahimsa, the sacredness in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at acupuncture school, my mentor was Kaneko, and he was a famous 5-generational acupuncturist, and he told me that the Japanese culture had a lot of black warriors and emperors, samurai soldiers, and that in order to honor my ancestors, I need to remember them. And that was the first person that got me thinking back in 1982 about ancestors being people of color in China, in Japan.
Absolutely.
And I started doing research based upon that. So I honored him by calling my center Ahimki, the sacredness of chi, energy related to the ancestors.
All right. You used the Japanese spelling of the key, or the key, the K-I.
The ki.
Okay.
That's right. Ahimki, the K-I.
Okay, awesome, awesome. We know there's prana and all sorts of different things, but it's that commonality of there being that life force that moves through us. Holy Spirit, the Force, if you go into Star Wars, or whatever it is, it's something that moves through us and propels us. So where are you located?
I'm located in Roswell, Georgia, just, east of Atlanta, in a city called Alpharetta, Roswell area. That's where my office is located.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Now, your clientele, what does it largely consist of right now? Who are you treating most often that comes through?
Mostly, we serve a lot of diversity, mostly African Americans that come from everywhere. But everyone pretty much in this area, learning about me and knows about me. I'm least known but well known.
Least known but well known. Awesome. Well, we want to change that so that you're well known and well trafficked and frequented, and also have a large patient population. So,
Hey, thank you.
Ashe. Oh,
Yeah.
what have been most of the maladies that you treat? Has it fallen into any particular categories?
Well, mostly I'm seeing currently with this new governmental administration, a lot of autoimmune challenges. Since COVID hit in 2020, actually 2019, I started seeing a lot more fibromyalgia, a lot more arthritis, a lot more inflammatory diseases, respiratory diseases. And people haven't been able to shake that. They still are FWO. But one thing about the alternative, the homeopathics, the herbs, the acupuncture, the qi work, qigong, the practice of healing yourself, really can turn that around.
So, is that long COVID, that symptoms that are being dealt with, what they call long COVID?
It's called the long haulers now.
The long haulers, okay. You mentioned autoimmune. Do you do anything with like those diseases like MS or lupus or anything like that?
We're seeing people that had never had that before, but because of the injections, it flipped their immune system. So now they're presenting, they don't know what it is, but they're presenting clots and presenting MS symptoms, etc.
Now, you say since the injection, so you're attributing some of that to the actual...
To the jab. Yes, to the jab.
Okay. Any one of those in particular? Was it Pfizer, or was it or was it specific to the type of injection?
I think it was just the combination of some people got 1, 2, and 3 and boosters. That is what really flips the immune system. You can't process all those heavy metals that are loaded in those injections.
So there's heavy metals within the injection itself. Okay.
Yeah, that's what gives it the life, the T1 life, so that when they give it to you, it can stay in your bloodstream in your body for a long, long time.
Now, were any of those people, did they have other symptoms that contributed to it, that made them more susceptible to it?
Now, they spun that story like if you were pre-diabetic, if you had already respiratory challenges like asthma. But these were marathon runners. These were people that were fit. I mean, these were people that are running, 5 miles every day.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, it wasn't really, as they portrayed in the news, unhealthy people. These were athletes.
And so you work with a lot of athletes in your practice?
Yes.
Okay. In terms of, I guess, dealing with this healthcare system, are you encouraged with what's happening with Secretary Kennedy, or do you have issues with any other things in particular that he's advocating for?
Some of his suggestions actually do have a lot of merit. A lot of research needs to be done, especially in vaccines that really affect our community, the African and Caribbean community. But he can be a little out there on some levels, it's still the government.
Okay. So you're not killing any bear cubs or anything. Okay. What in particular makes our African and Caribbean system different from the rest of the population? I know that was something that Dr. Sebi talked quite a bit about also.
Sure. Well, the first thing that seems to be really standing out is the melanin. We actually, from a cultural standpoint, our DNA, our immune system, our mitochondria is a little bit wired differently because of the post-traumatic stress we have had, and because of the trauma that we experience. Like in physician's desk reference, an average blood pressure for a Caucasian would be 120/80. But for most African Americans, they're going to be approaching 130s, over 80s. And that's because of the trauma, the stress, the worry, the fear, the grief, the anxiety that is day to day, that's been epigenetically day to day. So yeah, the blood pressure will be different based upon our cultural experiences.
So that's, I guess, what they call that post-traumatic slave disorder or slave syndrome.
Yes, yes, that's a factor.
And also, I guess, the daily things that raise our cortisol levels and keep them chronically high.
That's it. You know, it's just the trauma. It's the day-to-day grind.
Now, tell me, what are the best treatments that you found for dealing with something like, say, hypertension?
I like meditation as a self-help. I like hypnosis because you can get really down to the subconscious mind. But homeopathics work really well. Vitamins work really well. Herbs work really well, especially the Chinese herbs and the Indian herbs, the Ayurvedic herbs, work really, really well. I like the idea of self-help exercise and movement. This is a sustainable protocol. I don't think that medication was meant to be a life sentence, because the medication will have side effects. So let's say they put you on lisinopril, and most people that are of diversity are always going to generate a cough with that, and yet you would think that's normal. You develop the cough, but it's coming from the medication. Alodipine, for example, another medication. Side effects would generally be sometimes swelling eventually in the ankle, so then they got to give you a diuretic. So one thing creates another problem over time. That's why I like the self-help, the looking at the issue to redirect some of the stress, to work out, manage it, so that it's not long-term. And then diet and exercise, really the key.
Awesome, awesome. So it's really a lot of it is about lifestyle management and changing habits, behaviors.
That is the
key.
That is the key.
How much does diet play in that mix?
Well, because of our diet being rich in flavory, salted foods, the salt is really running a little bit of our blood pressure up. So if we can reduce the salt, and I'm talking about Morton salt. I'm talking about using Himalayan sea salt, something much more organic. You don't have the toxicity from those types of salt. As a matter of fact, they will help balance the electrolyte, but in moderation, of course. And yeah, those are the things that we're, suggesting to our community to pay attention to. When you go out and they're using just regular, salt, that could be too much for your body. And of course, your body's keeping the score, and that's why the blood pressure is high.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of folks who have been told to moderate their salt. They actually are afraid of the Himalayan salts and sea salts because they are treating it all as one thing, not realizing, as you said, that you need magnesium, phosphate, potassium, and
you need
sodium, all those things, because we're electric beings.
Yes. And because we're electric beings, we also need to be outdoors in the sun. We also need to be around trees and nature and the water, Obatala, and a lot of the orishas are helping us if we can tune into them, because that's really where we come from. But the spiritual component has to be part of managing blood pressure.
Right, exactly. We're a holistic, and hence the name of your center.
Yes, exactly.
So what attracted you to some of these alternative modalities in the first place? I know you said that your grandfather was a healer.
Yes, I had asthma as a little kid and psoriasis. And so my parents would spend, they thought they made it having insurance cards. So we would spend a lot of time in the hospital treating asthma. And who knew that that was an autoimmune disease? So all the inhalers never really stopped it. It just was managing it a little bit. And eventually I had 6 inhalers, daytime and nighttime inhalers. None of it was working. It turned out to be I was allergic to gluten and wheat and milk.
Okay.
So my granddad took me off of milk, took me off gluten and wheat. My skin cleared up and the asthma went away in about 2 months. I didn't have asthma. I ended up playing football and running track, being just like the average kids in the neighborhood. It really, really healed me, and I wanted to know how I could help others. So he turned me onto a book called Return to Eden by Jethro Kloss.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take that book to church, and instead of, reading the Bible, I'd be reading recipes for the members of the church, writing out little notes for them to help with the hot flashes and help with the skin disease and stuff like that. And the next thing you know, I was making a little money being a little health guy in church. I'm 12 years old. I could read and I can tell you what to take because my skin was good and I didn't have asthma. So that gave me credibility. I went to college, pre-med, started helping people in the dorms. And the next thing you know, I'm doing this.
Oh, that's amazing. Amazing journey. I wish I'd known you when my daughter was young, my son as well, but my daughter in particular, because both of them had asthma. We had to deal with the albuterol and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
The rescue inhalers and everything. But
Yeah.
she also had the eczema, and it's a frustrating thing when you're trying to do the best you can, trying to figure out what works, and nothing seems to be relieving the symptoms. And that's one of the most frustrating things for a parent, putting on, steroids and everything on the skin. And so it's really a tough place to be. I'm glad that you offer these services so that people don't have to go through that.
Oh, we've helped so many children, not just with asthma, but with food allergies. Mm-hmm. I specialize in food allergies. People don't realize that they could be allergic to peanuts, they could be allergic to wheat, they're definitely allergic to milk and gluten, and that could create quite a allergic effect just eating those foods, like, fish, for example. Some people are allergic to shrimp. They don't even know it. They're just eating it and scratchy throats and sometimes a little swelling of the lips. And no one ever says that's a food allergy, but if they keep eating it, it later begins to be a major autoimmune challenge.
So what's the difference between a sensitivity and an allergy?
Okay, a sensitivity is like, you can be outdoors playing in the grass and you scratch a little bit. But an allergy is something that is going to be systemic and year-round. It's chronic. It's deep. And generally your body will keep the score and definitely tell you.
Okay. It seems that, as you said, the problem of allergies has gotten worse. Some people attribute that to our environments being too clean, and that the immune system has nothing to fight against, and that's what contributes to some of that. Is there any truth in that?
Well, babies, for example, are encouraged to crawl on the floor and put things in their mouth. It used to be that way because that's how we built our immunities. But parents nowadays are using wipes and all kinds of chemicals on that, that sort of disinfect the kids, so it takes away some of the immunity. Yes, there's a lot of merit in that. But some of us have received a lot of vaccines over the years. Now it's average that an average child is getting 71 vaccines. We never got that when we were children. So it actually takes down our immunity. And children are getting sicker earlier with things that we never had before. And that's because of our, to your point, over immunity. So we actually have to let people deal with nature and let their bodies figure out how to heal and then do things that are natural that move the body back into homeostasis, like herbs, vitamins, minerals, lifestyle choices.
So
you don't always need penicillin. You don't always need an antibiotic.
No, in fact, you develop an immunity if you overuse it. Right.
That's exactly what's happening now.
Okay. So I know you practice a number of different modalities, acupuncture. When did you first try the needles?
Well, actually, when I was in college, I worked with a program at the University of California called Black Community School, and the Black Panthers were the ones that started that program. It was free lunch,
Right.
you know, and they picked
Breakfast.
students up,
Yeah.
breakfast too. Back in the day, I was one of the drivers to pick up kids and bring them to the Black community schools where they can get lunch, get dinner, and take classes. Then I saw Black Panthers treating their parents with needles that had drug addiction. And I said, wow, I want to do that. And I would hang out with them, and they put 5 needles in the ears. Later on, I learned that was nada. And Black Panthers had gone to Japan, China, and studied that and brought it in the hood. And then I saw it and eventually became an acupuncturist.
So were you there? Was that in Oakland or?
Oh, that was actually in Santa Barbara, which is, you know, Oakland's a little bit north of there. But they had wide influence. They were in Santa Barbara, they were in Long Beach, they were in Compton, they were in LA. And they were treating people running these programs. They got grants to run these programs. They just linked it to the university so that they would have a place to teach the classes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Another reason to appreciate the progressive mindset of the Panthers.
Yeah, they were progressive. Not only that, many of the faculty and staff, at least the ones that were in education opportunity programs, were part of the movement and conscious. Whoa, you know, they had gotten degrees, but then they wanted to reach back and get the little kids and get them connected.
So
Upper Bound Partnership, programs like that.
So I don't want to date you, but around what time period was that?
That's 1979, 80, 81, 82, 83, yeah.
Okay, so that's the post Huey and Bobby and all that period, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, Huey P. Newton, I used to put his flyer on my briefcase and go to class. And I open up the briefcase and be reading books, and the professor would always call on me, and I would be right on time. I thought I was like those guys. Smart, they knew the law, they were prepared.
Absolutely, absolutely. They were an inspiration and an encouragement and still are. I know that you have something that's coming up in September, an event.
Yes.
What is that event?
Well, yes. It's called the Inner Healer Summit, and it's September 26th, and it's just on a Saturday from 10 in the morning to like around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And one of the things about the Inner Healer Summit, which I like, is it's learning how to heal at the very deep level, at the spiritual level, at the quantum level, at the inner healer level. So think of it like this. There's the true self and the false self. We're going to be tapping into knowing about the shadow, and shadow could be really good and amazing. We can learn about the dark side of ourselves, but we can also learn about the real deep ancestral side and pull on that wisdom and learn about that wisdom so that we can move ourselves into our own highest divinity.
So you say this is an inner healing conference, so it's for practitioners, or is it open to the public?
Oh no, it's basically, we will have practitioners presenting, but it's for everybody that wants to learn about healing and healing at a very deep level.
Where will it take place?
It's going to be here in North Druid Hills. We have a wonderful facility, one of the oldest churches. It's the UCCA SLCA Center, 2650 North Druid Hills, in Atlanta, Georgia, 30329.
Could you repeat that again?
It's located at 2650 North Druid Hills, the Atlanta, Georgia, 30329. It's at the UCCA at the SLCA Center. It's there.
Okay, awesome. And what was the time on that again? What's the start time?
We'll probably get underway around 9 in the morning with Qigong. We'll go from 9 until about 4.
Is there a cost associated with it?
It is. And early bird registration, I think it's like $97.
How do people register early? Where will they register or pre-registration?
Well, you can go to innerhealersummit.com and you can register there. Innerhealersummit.com.
Okay. Is this the first time for this event? Is this an inaugural event, or have you done it previously?
This is our first one. We hope to make it, and we will make it annual.
Awesome, awesome. Looking forward to participating in that myself. And what's the dates on that again?
The date is September 26th.
Saturday, September 26th.
Yes.
Okay.
From 9 until 5.
Okay. Awesome.
I think we'll end around 4. We got people flying in from New York, so we want to get them back so they can get to wherever they need to be on Sunday.
Okay. Awesome. Now, I wanted to get to something that's more personal, and it's related to something that you just sent me a report on my mom.
Yes.
I came back literally from my hometown, Daytona, where my parents, they're both 94, which is a blessing, but it also presents its challenges as well in terms of growing older, experiencing cognitive decline and those types of things. Now, you did something amazing. You asked me to send you a picture of my mother, her birth date, height, and weight, for an analysis. Can you tell me a little bit about that technology that you used to determine that she was exposed to heavy metals and so forth?
Sure. The technology is called AO scanner. It's alpha and omega scanner. And it's actually used in space to measure the astronauts. So it's a form of radionics, which is our ancestors practiced that from a witness of looking, at a DNA witness like hair, saliva, or blood. You can actually read the person's energy, or from a picture. So you send a picture, and a picture is a radionic signal. It's some of our ancestors wouldn't let you take their pictures because they feel like you can capture their soul.
Their souls, right.
Exactly. But we don't use it in a negative way. We use it in a positive way. So once we get that holographic picture of a person's energy, the month and date and years, we can douse into like the Akashic records, this cosmic library, and you can find out mineral depletions that have been in their field, but also it's really connected to the month and date and year that they were born. There are certain patterns when you come in, if you're Scorpio or Leo or, Gemini, that go along with your health. And we're able to read those variants and come up with real precise information.
That's awesome.
Like heavy metal.
We just entered Leo season, okay?
Yes. So we can actually look into these boxes and come up with these variables that are about 99.8% accurate. And we've used it to get people out of the hospitals. In some cases, the diagnosis that they received was really not their real imprint. It was something different. And once we made the doctors aware, I work with many doctors, we make them aware that maybe it could be as simple as a parasitic infection that's affecting them, or it could be something very, very simple, like not like a virus, but like a bacteria affecting meninges in the brain, and it's going everywhere. So, or not like it's superficial, it could be an allergen that's allergic to something like Clorox, and you're using bleach, and that's breaking out the kid.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're able to find that with this technology and then make suggestions and really get people healed.
That's a challenge because when your water is chlorinated and fluoridated, if you're allergic to it, it creates quite an issue, a problem for you.
Yeah, we treat the water. We treat people. I've actually had athletes come in that were allergic to Gatorade.
Okay.
Like their tongue eventually would swell up or they itch, or it was the sugar and the chemicals in the Gatorade that they were allergic to. So I just put them on sea salt
Okay.
to get the electrolytes.
Exactly.
And they're much better. No side effects, just water. You don't need that sugar.
Right. Are you also familiar with colostrum? Do you ever recommend that in your practice?
Yes, in some cases. Colostrum will actually help repair the mucosal lining in the gut,
Right.
and the gut microbiome bacteria. Yeah, we carry that in our office. And we do sensitivity tests like muscle testing and kinesiology. And I have a couple really nice technology to evaluate and really take a look deeply at what's presenting in the blood and get people well.
Yeah, a friend of mine just turned me on to the 6-hour colostrum, the 6-hour milking, that it's in the first 6 hours. So yeah, it's something that I've been trying, and I actually introduced it to my sister and started putting a little bit in my mom's food as well. And
Yeah,
it actually
that's
had
great.
some immediate positive results from it. So yeah, it's so much that
Yeah.
we can do holistically that we can, I guess, wean off of our dependence on this big pharma.
Hmm. Yeah, and glyconutrients are really good too. You know, these are simple amino acids on a chain, amino acid chain, like 22 amino acids. You know, those are the building blocks for our body. And
That, oh, Lordy. Okay, we lost Doc because we're on the low budget. I'm on the low budget Zoom. So, but I need to finish this conversation with Dr. Armstrong. This conversation that we just started. What I like to do is we're going to dial back in and continue this again. Let's see. Well, on the text thing, he's not going to get it because that's his office phone that we were using. I have to email it back. Let's see. Oh, he's calling in. Doc, hit that link again, and we can resume. Yeah, hit it again, and we'll resume. We're dealing with live, so audience, please be patient with us. The technological difficulties just take them in love.
I'm hitting sign in again or join meeting.
Okay, I'll let my technician tell you. Yeah, but what Dr. Armstrong and I were talking about is that my mom, as I said, is 94, and she's had quite a bit of cognitive decline, dementia, and those things. But he says that a lot of what happened was attributable to environmental causes, causes such as heavy metals. And those heavy metals can come from any number of sources, such as sometimes the fillings that people used to get back in the day, or they get the metal in their mouths, gold teeth, and so forth. But also there are other things. He said that there is exposure to fungus, mold, I should say, mold, black mold. A lot of the times that happens in households where there's not adequate ventilation. You know, that after you take a shower or whatever in the bathroom, you should let that exhaust fan run for about 15 minutes afterwards to help to clear out the moisture. Otherwise, that moisture stays in there and becomes mildew, which eventually can become black mold. And then there are other things like gas appliances, like gas ovens, and if those are not adequately maintained, some of that gas can seep out. And one of the things that he said that there was some exposure to was carbon monoxide. So your own home, your own environment, which is supposed to be your sanctuary, could be the thing that's also contributing to the demise of your health. So those are some of the things that that testing modality that he introduced me to was able to detect in my mom. And there are ways to address it. Once you know what the problem is, then there's some things you can take to mitigate it, to help to manage it. So we're back on.
He's there. Let's ask him a question.
Okay, so Doc, we have you on, I believe, just on the audio right now. So, hey, we're going to take what we can get for the time being and keep rolling with it. So you were introduced to acupuncture through the Panthers. How did you get into Chinese medicine? Was that I guess that acupuncture was a segue into the Chinese medicine? And can you tell us a little bit about, I know the Chinese, they categorize things by like the materials, metal, wood, and so forth. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Five-element theory, the fire, the metal, the water, the earth, the wood. Yes. So, I met this wonderful gentleman named Kaneko, and he turned out to be a professor at the California Acupuncture College. And as fate would have it, I was training with him, and I ended up taking classes, getting enrolled there. And It was amazing because I had this great mentor who was one of my professors.
So did you also venture into the martial arts? So I know there's a tight connection between the martial arts, meditation, and energy work. So did that segue into that at all?
It did, and to this day I practice an art called Qigong. Qi is energy and Gong is movement. So I've been practicing that since 1982, and I teach classes every Saturday in Qigong.
So are the classes taught there at your facility in Roswell?
They are, yeah. And we practice inside and we practice outside. We have a setting, standing, and laying down rotation that we practice.
Oh, that's incredible. Did you also do any Tai Chi or Shaolin or any of those things?
Yes, I practice Tai Chi Chuang as well. But I like the Qigong because the ability to do healing right away is so fast. People can learn a routine and then they can do it on themselves to heal themselves.
So is Qigong considered a martial art? Is there a combat aspect to it?
Qigong is not considered a martial art.
Right.
It's considered when you hurt yourself and break yourself into pieces practicing martial arts. The seniors generally all practice Qigong. It's a way of working on the internal healing of your body. You see, a lot of the arts are young, a lot of kicking, grappling, and throwing down, and so forth. But the Qigong is the internal energy to heal you. And there's something called Neigong inside the Qigong, that inner healer. And that's why we're doing the summit, to teach people about this.
So is there a cost for participation?
The Qigong every Saturday is a donation of $20.
Okay. All right. What time does that start again?
8 a.m. till 9:30 every Saturday.
That's every Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9:30. Get your energy moving with some Qigong with Dr. Armstrong.
That's it. Qi is movement, Qi is energy, and Gong is movement. So that's what you're learning. And you're learning about the 12 meridians. You're learning about Ra and the ancestors. We work with the sun energy. We work with the earth energy, with the fire and the metal and the water energy, and you learn how to work with all that as you practice this work.
So you mentioned Ra, so we're going to step over to the motherland. What African-specific modalities do you tap into? I know we know, Yoruba, okay.
Yes.
So Nigeria, okay.
Yes.
Tapping into the Orishas. I know you mentioned the Orishas previously. A lot of folks may get spooky about the Orishas and think, they're polytheistic, but really we're talking about aspects of ourselves, aspects of nature, and aspect of the God energy itself.
That's correct.
So do you give a lot of instruction, and would you consider yourself a Yoruba priest, or are you dealing more so with just the physical?
Yeah, I'm not a priest in any way, but I like to always give homage and respect to our ancestors, and also to connect to that sacred energy that is part of it, part of us, and part of our history. So, yes.
Have you ventured down to Bahia, to the Yoruba community down there?
I have, yes. And believe it or not, a lot of the priests and priestesses come here for therapy and treatment.
They come to see you specifically?
Yes.
That's awesome to consider that they would leave South America. Our host here in Caribbean Life TV, he's actually from Guyana. So we like to big up and salute the Caribbean as well, South American, Central American, and so forth. We know that word America is oftentimes chauvinistically only referring to the United States, but we're all Americans when we're a part of this. So I'm glad to see they make that trip up to see you. Do you have any particular words that you would like to express to the diaspora as to what you offer and why in particular it may be relevant for Caribbean audiences?
Sure. I know that ants are building homes, birds are building nests. Everybody in the universe is doing something for themselves. this is an opportunity for us to learn in a 21st, basically in a fifth to sixth dimensional way of our ancient Kemetic rights and ownership to step back into our own divinity. And we're practicing it in the modern day. And it's not any woo-woo. Woo-woo's good, but we're actually scientifically based. We know why we're doing what we're doing, and it's just compassionate healing energy.
Awesome. Now, Doc, I know we had a technical interruption, and so I sincerely apologize. And what I'd like to do is extend an invitation for you to come back again so we can continue this conversation on next Wednesday, because there's so much. We just began to scratch the surface of what's out there and what you provided, the resource that you are for this community. And we want it to be a resource that people tap into, that they come and rely upon, so that we can heal ourselves. We know that food is medicine, so we want to...
Yeah, food is medicine, and we know how to do it. We just got to do it and be consistent at it.
We've been creative with the worst foods that were given to us. We learned how to make that even tasty and savory, so imagine what we can do with whole foods when we're given that opportunity.
Well, that'd be great. Yeah, next Wednesday works great. We'll have Christina reach out to you, and we'll get a time together, and we'll do it again.
All right. I know that's it. I would love to have you in studio if that's possible, but to limit some of
I'm grateful to come in studio. It's just that I have clients and
I
I'm
understand.
treating people. So maybe if it was on a Monday, I can do it, or every other Friday when I'm not working, I'd be glad to come to the studio.
Hey, Doc, we'll take what we can get, because the knowledge and information you provide is invaluable. So whether you here in person, or we got you on audio only, or we got you on video and audio, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, they will grasp this information and lock onto it, and it can truly be transformative for their lives.
Hey, I thank you for the opportunity. And to our people out there, free the land.
Free the land, indeed, indeed. So how much time do we have left, Lawrence? Zero time. We're out of time. So, Doc, thank you for being on. I appreciate you. That's Hemke Center for Wholeness here in Roswell, Alpharetta area, so that anywhere in the Atlanta area, please feel free to come. But as he said, his practice is worldwide. So that's it for today, for this episode of the Alkemystic Mind. I'm Minister Imhotep. Like, comment, subscribe to Caribbeanlifetv and radio. And also you can check me out on my YouTube page, Minister Imhotep. And I'm on IG and all the other platforms. So I'm signing out, wishing you peace, prosperity, and power.
Looking for personalized, compassionate health care you can trust? Welcome to Life Guide Healthcare, where premium care meets a personal touch. We specialize in medical weight loss, IV hydration therapy, hormone replacement therapy, primary and holistic care, and advanced wound care and mobile services. At Life Guide Healthcare, we bring care directly to you with mobile and in-home services available, conveniently serving the community with fast appointments and customized treatment plans. Call us today at 770-557-1079. Life Guide Healthcare, your partner in